Well, hello there. Welcome to Ivy's Fortress. I'm Ashante, your reading friend, and we have a perfect day for digging to read today. And please, no. So I'm outside, and it looks like they're going to be doing some work on the street. So I'm going to try to read this. Luckily, we have our mic, and I'll be able to speak through that. So you will hear my voice, but you may hear lots and lots of noise in the background. But that does not stop us from reading, does it? No, sir, no, ma'am. So we're going to get our reading glasses on. It's like it's a perfect day to do yard work or to do street work, I see. And this is by Cari, illustrated by Christine Davenier. If I'm saying that correctly, and if I'm not, I do so apologize. In the spring, when trees unfreeze and grass grows green and pansies say, "Please plant me." Nell and her dog, Rusty, can't wait to dig in the dirt that's perfect for digging, right in their own backyard. Norman, their neighbor, watches. He says, "Ew," because he hates getting dirty. But digging is full of surprises. How long will Norman resist before he joins in the fun? Hooray for dirty digging. Now, I picked out this book because, one, it was on a display and I like the illustrations. I love when I can see a child's personality in the illustrations, especially on their face and in their gestures that they paint or draw, or however they create their artistry, their work here. But I was a kid who loved to dig in the yard, and I had my, what I now know is called a trowel, but I had my little shovel, and I would dig little holes to see what I would find under the earth, because I was very curious about what was underneath our feet every day. And one day I saw a sign when I learned how to read that said, "Call before you dig." And I thought that was a crazy sign. I was so terrified because I never called anybody to make sure that my digging was safe. But what they really mean is for people who decide to dig very deep holes or foundations to create or build something from the ground, like pools or concrete or anything that is actually going to go into the ground. So my innocent childlike digging really wasn't disruptive to what could possibly be underground, like pipes and all that stuff. So I am grateful that I could read that sign, and I now know you can't just dig for fun, because how out of control that habit would have got if I never would have known. It's a very eager, fearless kid, so, and inquisitive. But I'm going to stop talking, and we're going to read our book, A Perfect Day for Digging, by Cari, illustrated by Christine Davenier. And this is published by Two Lions. In the spring, when trees unfreeze and grass grows green and pansies say, "Please plant me." Nell and Rusty can't wait to dig in dirt just right for digging. "Bye-bye, snow shovel," says Nell. "Hello, trowel." Crunch, crumble, push, shove, victory! "Victory," Nell sings when she and Rusty finally break through the crusty ground. "I love the smell of fresh spring dirt," Nell says. "Don't you, Rusty?" Rusty does. In fact, he loves the smell of fresh spring dirt so much that he tries to eat it. Then Nell has to remind him, dirt is for digging, Rusty, not eating. Nell swirls the dirt around, making S's with her trowel. She chop-chops the clumpy, lumpy dirt until it is silky smooth. Rusty makes dirt angels. Then he jumps up and shakes. "Hooray for getting dirty," shouts Nell. "Woof," barks Rusty. Our dear bee friend said hello today. "I hate getting dirty," says Norman, swinging his new shoes back and forth. "Too bad," says Nell, "because it's a perfect day for digging and I have an extra trowel." "No thanks," says Norman. "I'd rather watch." Nell crunches down low. Rusty crunches down low too. Sometimes Nell digs like a chipmunk and scratches out a little bit of dirt at a time. Sometimes she's a badger and a lot of dirt flies everywhere. and sometimes Nell closes her eyes and digs a tunnel like a mole. But Rusty always digs like a dog. He uses his front paws to make the hole deeper, and his back paws to put the dirt back in. Rusty, scolds Nell, laughing. Norman laughs too, because he's not the one getting dirty. Nell shapes a round mountain out of the first pile of dirt. She decorates the mountains with pebbles and pieces of shells. Rusty leaps over and over Nell's mountain until his paws are the color of chocolate. Ew, says Norman, taking his clean hands out of the clean pockets of his clean jeans to keep the dirt away. She's laughing at him. Nell has so much fun digging that she begins to dig another hole, but Rusty has other ideas. Come back here, calls Nell. I'm gonna catch you. Clomp, 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 clomp goes Nell's digging boots in the swampy spring mud. Hey, stop splashing, shouts Norman. Sorry, says Nell. Good dog, she tells Rusty, because he's finally dropped the trawl. This time when they dig, Nell and Rusty pretend they are giant steam shovels, whirring, scooping, and dumping a ton of dirt next to each other. Then, I think Nell gets, not Rusty. What's his name? Edwin. Norman. I said Edwin. Norman gets dirty. Let's see. Nope. Look what I found, says Nell. A pretty striped marble, 3 acorns, the mini stegosaurus I lost last summer, and 1 fat, juicy worm. Gross, says Norman, but he inches closer to watch the worm wiggle and to see what Nell decides to do with all the other treasures. We could put them in a dirt museum, Nell announces. Cool, says Norman. We'll build it with stones you dig up, and I won't even have to get dirty. Now there's bugs on my ankle. One thing about fall is the bugs like to get their last little bites and their last little adventures before they go and hibernate for the winter wherever they go, because fall and bugs are not my favorite time and living thing. Nell makes sure to give the worm plenty of dirt to wiggle in. Rusty wants to bite the worm, but Nell says worms are not for biting. Rusty, Mom says they make gardens better for growing things like potatoes and tomatoes. And flowers, says Norman. Rusty thumps to the ground. He's pooped, but Nell and now Norman want to see what else is buried in the garden. So Norman brings Rusty a bowl of fresh water. That does the trick. I still need your help, partner, Nell tells Rusty. When Nell and Rusty are digging their 5th hole, Nell discovers something. Hey, Norman, she calls. I'm gonna need a better mic if I read outside. It's a tiny china arm. Wow, says Norman. He carefully brushes off the dirt with his clean hanky. I wonder who played with it, and if there's more. There's only one way to find out, says Nell, but I'm all dug out. So, Norman rolls up his sleeves. He rolls up the bottom of his clean jeans. He picks up the extra trowel, and Norman starts to dig. Not like a chipmunk and not like a badger, not like a mole, and definitely not like a dog. Norman digs like a bird pecking away, slowly and carefully. If there's another treasure, I wouldn't want to break it, Norman says. Then, just like an archaeologist, he separates the soil with the tip of his trowel, delicately spooning out a little dirt at a time, until... Norman, are you going to get dirty? Victory! Victory, shouts Norman. Could this be the tiny china leg that goes with the tiny china arm that you found? It is, says Nell. Good work, Norman. But guess what? What? Asks Norman. You're all dirty, says Nell. You're right, says Norman, looking down. But guess what? What? Asked Nell. I like to dig, says Norman, and from now on my new shoes will be my digging shoes. But what about the garden, asked Nell. It's a mess. I know, says Norman. We can fill in the holes like this. And, says Nell, we can plant these pansies like this. Hooray for digging. You mean, hooray for dirty digging, shouts Norman. When can we dig again? Woof, 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 woof. The end. The Dirt Museum. Wow, you can find so many different ways to have fun with the nature around us. You can make games, you could observe the life that's happening, like the butterflies that fly around or the ants that build their homes. You can even build yourself a dirt museum like we did here in a perfect day for digging. So check this book out from your local library or purchase it at a bookstore near you so you can find your perfect way of digging, because there are some great instructions in here that are indirect because they're somebody else's story, but they're also very valuable to all of us. Now, before you go, I want to read a little bit about our author and illustrator. Cari Best's acclaimed picture books include When We Go Walking and 3 Cheers for Catherine the Great, an ALA notable book, as well as Sally Jean, the Bicycle Queen, and Shrinking Violet, both selected School Library Journal Best Books of the Year. Cari can often be found digging in her own backyard with her dog Ginny. She never knows what treasures they'll discover, like a tiny china arm. Cari lives in Connecticut. Christine Davenier has illustrated many popular picture books, including Cari's best Sally Jean, The Bicycle Queen, and the best-selling The Very Fairy Princess by Julie Andrews and Emma Walton Hamilton. The Bulletin of the Center for Children's Books praised her work, saying, Christine Davenier gives daily life a freshness and genuine elan that you only hope the world outside her books can match. Christine lives in Paris and in France. There's a city, I think it's Ligneroles, Lignerolles, France, where she takes great joy in digging her garden and getting dirty. Well, digging will never be so much fun as it reads here on the back, and I hope that you can have an adventurous date with the mud. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. I'll catch you next time. Bye. We truly enjoy sharing our adventures with you here at Ivy's Fortress. If you do too, like our videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Well, what are you doing? It is your choice, but we'll race you there. Bye.